Master your emotions to master your life. Hi, my name is Dr. Meghana Dikshit. I'm the author of the book You Matter and Brain and Performance Expert. Today's topic is about how to create the emotional mastery. How to master your emotions so that you can start leading a much better life that you're leading right now. But before we dive deeper into this topic, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so that you get the notification of the new video, and make sure if you like this video, comment below and hit that like button. Okay, so let's begin. Let's understand how to master your emotions. All of us have been in the situations like, maybe you're sitting in a traffic, or maybe, you're dealing with a difficult coworker, or maybe arguing with a loved one. We all have been in a situation where our emotions have got the best of you, right? So all of us, if you understand, the human beings are going through this various emotions on every single day. So what are emotions? Emotions are energy in motion. These are the chemical, physiological and psychological responses that are triggered in your body when an event occurs or when a trigger comes. So when a trigger comes, what happens is your brain processes the trigger, and in those milliseconds, there's this whole chemical that bursts. We can cry in sadness and happiness. We can, our heart can race when we fear. We can feel hot when we are angry. Right? So the emotions are basically the physiological response to a psychological stimulus that has come from outside. But having said that, emotional mastery does not mean that you shut your emotions or you deny them. Emotional mastery means you understand your emotion, you acknowledge your emotion, and before it controls your behavior, you alter it. So the moment the emotion arises, a person who's not mastered the emotion will have a certain behavior. Like you go hug a person, you go slap a person, you just say certain things that you cannot take back, and you regret those behaviors. So every emotion drives a behavior. So it's the emotional mastery comes in place where before the behavior occurs. And today we are going to understand how to get into that state where you have mastered that emotion so that your body is not responding to it unconsciously. You're very aware and you're very conscious in your space. You're able to pause before you say something or before you attack or be aggressive in that situation. Our body is filled with various chemicals. Emotions are energy in motions, as I said earlier. What happens is, when a stimulus comes, there's a physical arousal that happens in the body. We attach meaning to that experience and bam, you have an emotion. So I'm going to give you an example to make this simple for you. Imagine you're walking on a lonely street. It's dark outside and there are trees around, and suddenly a strange man emerges from those rows of trees and approaching rapidly towards you. Now what's going to happen is, with the approaching man, you are going to feel a certain arousal in your space, and that arousal is going to be, oh my God, what's happening here? Why is this person coming to me? I don't know this man. Immediately your heartbeat increases. Your heart starts racing, you start palpitating, and your mind attaches the meaning that these exact symptoms come with a fear. Is this man going to attack me? Am I in danger? Damn, I'm frightened. Fear is an emotion that you attach to the strange man appearing, the stimulus that came in your environment. Now what happens is, in this case, that environment played a huge role in contributing to making you feel a certain way. Now in the same setting, think about a different scenario. It's a bright daylight, you're walking on a street, and from the trees, a weak, old woman emerges. Now it's a bright sunlight, and this woman arises, and she's walking towards you. The immediate response that will come in your space is, oh, she's so weak, she's so frail, is she okay? Why is she coming towards me? Does she need any help? Do I need to do something for this person? Now you see, both cases, the strange person emerging from the trees is common. The stimulus is common. but the environment, the setting, the context in that person emerges played a huge role in the way it invoked the emotions inside you. It's a double factor theory. Emotions come to you first from the stimulus, the psychological response comes, and then the physiological response arises. Or when you see the stimulus, the physiological response arises and you attach the meaning. And this is how you get an emotion. Now, knowing and understanding this, that we are living in the world where there are constant triggers and stimulus that are going to come to us, that are going to trigger our space. And knowing this, how can you start working on yourself so that the meaning that you attach to that particular incident changes everything for you? So the one thing that is in your hand before you create the emotional mastery or maybe react to the situation is the meaning that you attach. So basically, creating emotional mastery means creating a meaning that is conducive to you, that is appropriate for you to create a response that is helpful and not damaging your life. Now, please understand this, that whatever happens in our life outside is out of our control. You cannot always change what's happening in the world. But what you can change is the way you attach your meaning to those events and the situations that go on. Now, every time there is an event that happens in your life, the first event, let's take it as an original event that happened, it's a very objective experience. If suppose there are 2 or 3 people involved in that experience, let's take an example of you arguing with your loved one or you arguing with your co-worker. Now in that situation, there are 2 people. And if you ask each individual to narrate that experience, that event, they will narrate that event from their perspective. You may say, I said this to my loved one because he or she was wrong. And I think this is the way the thing should be done. Now, when you ask the opposite person, that person is going to say, hey, you know what? I think I was right and this person was wrong. And I think this is how it should be. Each one of you narrated the same event of argument in your own subjective way. The meaning that you attached to that event created a secondary event or a secondary experience in your mind. And it gets stored in your hippocampus, in your memory bank, with the meaning that you attach. The memories that you have in your life, good or bad, are basically the meanings that you have attached to those events that occurred in the past. Now, there are many memories in our space that are negative memories. And these negative memories make us feel miserable. And they are the bigger triggers in our space where we react to the situations in our life. So in that case, when something has happened in your past and you don't have a control over it, what control do you have is the way you react to that memory, or you react to that situation, or you react towards that person. Now that is a meaning that I feel that you can change, and that's in your control. So let's get your pen and paper out, and I want you to start writing down the steps to create emotional mastery so that your trajectory of life starts changing. You start changing your way of communication, the way you connect with people and this world outside. A large part of your life depends on the way you feel, the way your emotions are, your self-worth, your self-image, your confidence, your self-esteem. All of this is connected with the meaning that you have attached to yourself and the world outside. So let's get going. The best way to create emotional mastery is handling your emotions or looking at your emotions when they first time occurred. The more you push them away, the more they will keep coming back. And they will come like a volcano. I always give this example. Like imagine your emotions are like volcano. And they're trying to erupt. Right? And you put that, in that eruption place or point, you put a lot of cement and tar and you just seal it. And now the volcano is not erupting. So you're like, okay, fine, I handled it, I coped up. But, emotions are like they're traveling under the surface. And imagine the volcano traveling under the surface. You can't see it on on top of the surface, but it's traveling under the surface, it will erupt in a place where you are least looking at. A weaker point, it could be your health, it could be your relationship, it could be money, it could be an opportunity, it could be career. It can erupt anytime, anywhere, and it is then not in your control because you're not in awareness. So the first thing first, the moment the emotions come up, don't ignore them, acknowledge them. Sit by yourself and ask yourself this question: what am I really feeling? What's happening in my space? Maybe there's a confusion. Maybe you need the clarity. What is it that will bring the clarity to me? What is that emotion that am I feeling? Am I truly feeling this emotion, or is there something else? Point out, give it a label, give it a meaning, understand what that emotion is. Not everything is anger. You may be angry, but there is something below that anger. Generally, when you have some hurt, when you have some pain, anger erupts. So what is that emotion? I want you to look at carefully. The moment you have understood the emotion, the second step is to acknowledge them. Your emotions are the communication of your body to you. Your body is trying to teach you something. Your body is trying to tell you something through that emotion. And if you shut it down, if you ignore it, it's only make it bigger. So why not look at that emotion and say, hey, what are you trying to teach me? What is this communication? What do you want to tell me? 95% of our diseases are psychosomatic. What is psychosomatic? It's because of the psychological, the thought that is going on in your space. There is an emotion that is aroused in your body, and that is impacting your body. And when you're constantly, that emotion is impacting your body, you create a dis-ease in your body. And the dis-ease is then turning into the disease. So the dis-ease in your thoughts and emotions is ultimately transferring into the disease in the body. Autoimmune disorders, cancers, your spondylitis, your rheumatism, all of these, the chronic health issues like diabetes, lifestyle disorders, endocrine system issues like thyroid and PCOD and infertility. There are so many of these diseases. They are all coming and stemming from the emotional stress. And the worst part is, we deal with all sorts of stress. We get physical stress, we deal with it. We get some chemical stress like viral attacks, bacterial attack, we deal with them. But we ignore the emotional stress. So how about you focusing now? Where is this emotion coming from? Acknowledging it and appreciating that communication that your body is having it with you. Be more curious about your emotion. Never make your emotion feel wrong. Don't say, oh, they are wrong, I'm not feeling like this. Don't do that. By doing so, you're just going to cut the communication for the future. So rather be more curious. Feeling angry. Where is the wisdom in this anger? What is this anger teaching me? What am I learning from this? What's the disguise? What is happening here? What's the blessing in this anger? Be curious and ask questions. What do I need to learn here so that I don't repeat the same mistake? I learn from this emotion and I progress and I become better. The most powerful way to create emotional mastery is whenever you are in that emotion and you answer these questions, the next thing that you need to do is you got to ask yourself this very intelligent question. Last time, when did I feel the same way? In what situation? Where was I when I felt this way? And I handled it beautifully. I'm 100% sure there are at least 1 or 2 incidents in your life when you handle that emotion well. Get more confident about handling that emotion today and in future. Build more support incidents in your space in terms of how come up with 3-4 different responses. You know the trigger situations that you may be having. You may know that some people, some situations, some places trigger you and you can't avoid it. So in that case, creating a backup in your mind that if this happens, I'm going to have these 4-5 set of responses. I'm going to choose out of them. If you teach your brain There could be a different choice of response that you have. Your brain will pick up the different choice of response and then keep repeating it in your mind. Remember, your brain does not understand what's real and what's imaginary. Now, you may be imagining the worst case scenario, and that's the reason every time that person shows up, you react in different way. But now, if you could create the best case scenario, and you keep repeating that in your mind again and again and again, when you actually meet the person, the best case scenario comes up. Your brain will pick that up. And even if there's a mind lapse that happens, don't reprimand yourself. Appreciate, get up, and repeat the steps again. And you will amaze yourself over a period of time. If you keep doing this again and again and again, you will master your emotions. And remember, it's an everyday space. You have to work on yourself every single day. It's not a one-time job. You have to do this every single day. Everybody does it. Every person who's living an extraordinary life have mastered their emotions. 80% of your success comes from emotional mastery. So let me know in the comment box, which emotion are you going to master in your life? And if you like the video, hit that like button. Share this video if you feel this is going to help many more people, at least 10 people. Share it in your groups. And let me know the one aha moment, the one thing that you learned from this video that you're going to use it again and again and again. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.